JonBenet Ramsey Murder Investigation.
We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
Explain to me what's going on, okay?
There's a note left and our daughter's gone.
A note was left and your daughter is gone?
When John and Patsy Ramsey awoke early on December 26, 1996, they discovered that their 6-year-old daughter, JonBenet Ramsey, was gone from her bed in their Boulder, Colorado, home. After getting up early to get ready for their trip, Patsy saw a ransom note demanding $118,000 in exchange for their daughter's safe return on the stairs. Even though the message advised against involving the police, Patsy called them right away to help with the search for JonBenet Ramsey, along with friends and family. When the police came at 5:55 a.m., they did not examine the basement, where her death would finally be discovered, although they did find no evidence of forced entry. There were numerous errors made in the investigation before JonBenet's body was even discovered. Friends and family picked up objects and possibly destroyed evidence throughout the house, leaving only JonBenet's room cordoned off. Additionally, the Boulder Police Department postponed its informal interviews with the parents and gave the Ramseys access to the information they had discovered. The detectives gave Mr. Ramsey and a family friend instructions to check the residence at 1 p.m. to see if anything was wrong. John Ramsey moved his daughter's body upstairs right away, disrupting the crime scene and, regrettably, destroying any potential evidence. In addition to a fractured skull, JonBenet Ramsey's cause of death during the autopsy was determined to be asphyxiation from strangulation. Her neck and wrists were bound with a white cord, and her mouth was taped shut. Although a sexual attack had happened, there was no concrete proof of rape because no semen was discovered on the body, and her vagina seemed to have been wiped clean. A section of a paintbrush from the basement and a length of cable were used to construct the makeshift garret. In JonBenet's stomach, the coroner also discovered what was thought to be pineapple. Her brother Burke, age 9, left his fingerprints on a bowl of pineapple in the kitchen, but this was insignificant because fingerprints cannot be linked to time. Her parents do not recall giving her any the night before she passed away. Burke spent the entire night asleep in his room, according to the Ramseys, and there was never any tangible proof to the contrary. The family hypothesis and the invader theory are the two most widely accepted explanations surrounding the Ramsey case. For a variety of reasons, the Ramsey family was the subject of much of the original investigation. Because the ransom letter was unusually long, was written with a pen and paper from Ramsey's house, and requested nearly the identical amount of money that John had earned as a bonus earlier that year, the authorities believed that the note was staged. The Ramseys were also hesitant to assist the police, however, they subsequently claimed this was because they were afraid the police would not look into anything and would just target them as simple suspects. Nonetheless, investigators questioned all 3 of the family members and requested handwriting samples to match the ransom note. It was determined that neither John nor Burke had written the memo. Despite the fact that it was widely said that Patsy's handwriting sample could not provide definitive proof, no other evidence was provided to bolster this conclusion. The media instantly concentrated on JonBenet's parents, even though there was a wider range of suspects, and they endured years of harsh public scrutiny. A Colorado grand jury decided in 1999 to indict the Ramseys for endangering the welfare of children and obstructing a murder investigation. However, the prosecutor decided not to pursue charges because the evidence did not satisfy the threshold of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It was never formally declared that JonBenet's parents were suspects in the killing. On the other hand, there was ample physical evidence to back up the invader theory. Besides, JonBenet's body was discovered a boot print that did not belong to any member of the family. In the basement, there was also a shattered window, which was thought to be the most likely access site for an intruder. Her pants also contained DNA from blood drops from an unidentified male. Because the Ramseys' floors were extensively carpeted, it is conceivable that a burglar brought JonBenet downstairs without alerting the family. John Carr was one of the most well-known suspects. After drugging and sexually abusing JonBenet, he admitted to killing her by mistake in 2006, which led to his incarceration. After it became clear that no narcotics had been discovered in JonBenet's system, that police were unable to verify he was in Boulder at the time, and that Carr's DNA did not match the profile created from the samples discovered, Carr was eventually dropped as a suspect. The DNA profiles created from the sample discovered in her underwear and the touch DNA subsequently produced from her long johns are at the center of a large portion of the current case investigation. In 2003, the National DNA Database CODIS received the profile from her undergarments, but no matches were found. In 2006, Boulder District Attorney Mary Lacey took over the case. She concurred with the federal prosecutor that the notion of the intruder was more likely to be true than the Ramseys' daughter's death. Using the DNA traces left by skin cells on Lacey's long underwear, scientists created a DNA profile with her approval. 2008 saw Lacey provide a statement outlining the DNA evidence and completely clearing the Ramsey family, which included the following. No member of the Ramsey family, including John, Patsy, or Burke Ramsey, is viewed as a suspect in this case by the Boulder District Attorney's Office. We are making this declaration now due to the fact that we have lately acquired additional scientific evidence that greatly increases the prior scientific data's exculpatory worth. We thank you very much for the additional evidence in this instance. The assassination of JonBenet Ramsey has garnered attention from local, national, and even international media. The public began to assume that one or more Ramsey family members, her mother, father, or possibly brother, were to blame for this heinous murder. Those worries were based on media reports rather than on in-court evidence. The case was formally reopened in 2010, with an emphasis on the DNA samples. After more examination of the samples, specialists now think that the sample is actually from two people, not just one. In order to create a more comprehensive DNA profile of the murderer, authorities stated in 2016 that the DNA would be examined using more advanced techniques at the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. The case of JonBenet Ramsey, which aired on CBS in 2016, made the implication that her brother Burke, who was 9 years old at the time, was the murderer, even though DNA evidence absolved him and established the presence of an intruder. Burke sued CBS for slander, seeking damages in excess of $750 million. 2019 saw the settlement of the dispute. The contents of the agreement were not made public, but his attorney declared the matter to have been amicably resolved to the satisfaction of all parties. The case of JonBenet Ramsey is still pending and unresolved. Would you like it? Hit the like button and subscribe to our channels for more interesting and informative videos.